The gas station smells like burnt coffee and window cleaner. You know that smell. Cheap coffee sitting on the burner too long. You're in Tulsa, at a Coombe and go off I-44, filling up a truck that's seen better decades. 2009 Ford F-150. Rust creeping along the wheel wells. The bed liner is cracked. You bought it used, for cash, 6 years ago, and you've never once thought about replacing it. You go inside for a coffee, black, $1.79. The kid at the register barely looks up. You pay in quarters and ones you dig out of the truck's console. Your phone buzzes as you're walking back out. An email, subject line, *Q3 portfolio statement, Meridian Wealth Advisors. You lean against the truck bed and open it. Scroll past the graphs, land on the number at the bottom. Total assets, $214,600,000. You stand there. A semi rolls by on the highway behind you, loud enough that you feel it in your chest. You don't feel it in your chest. You just look at the number. You put the phone back in your pocket. The same pocket with a hole starting in the corner, the one you keep meaning to fix. You get in the truck. The engine turns over rough, the way it always does in the cold. You pull out onto the highway. Nobody behind that windshield in the sedan next to you has any idea. The guy pumping gas 2 spots over, in his pressed shirt and his leased Audi, doesn't know that the man in the beat-up F-150 next to him could buy his dealership. All of them. One thought sits in your chest the whole drive home, quiet and heavy. Nobody in this city knows what I'm worth, and that's exactly how I want it. Now let me take you back. Because that truck, that number, that silence, none of it was given to you. Go back 19 years. You're 24. You live in a rented room above a laundromat on the east side of Tulsa, the kind of neighborhood where the streetlights flicker and half of them don't come back on. Your room has one window, painted shut, and a mattress you got from a guy moving out of state for $40. No frame, just the mattress on the floor, same as it's been for 2 years. You work at Boyd's Auto Salvage 6 days a week, pulling parts. Alternators, starters, catalytic converters. Your hands are permanently stained. A gray-black that soap doesn't touch anymore. You have a scar on your left palm from a torque wrench that slipped 8 months ago. Nobody stitched it. You just wrapped it in electrical tape and kept working because Boyd docked pay for missed hours. $11.25 an hour. Cash under the table for the Saturday shifts. After rent, $410 a month, utilities included, sort of, and groceries from the Aldi on 21st, there's nothing left. You know what a $34 overdraft fee feels like in your stomach. You've felt it 11 times this year. Your upstairs neighbor is a woman named Dot, 60-something, works the overnight shift at a call center. You hear her radio through the floor some nights, low gospel stations. She leaves a plate of food outside your door sometimes, no note, just does it. You've never known how to thank her properly. One Thursday, you're at the yard sorting a pallet of pulled catalytic converters. The yard doesn't even weigh them separately, just tosses them in a bin marked scrap misc, same pilly as bent rebar and dead batteries. A buyer shows up, not Boyd's usual guy, some independent, driving a clean Silverado, cash in an envelope. He picks through the bin himself. Doesn't say much, weighs 11 converters on a portable scale he brought himself. Hands Boyd $660 in cash. You do the math in your head before you can stop yourself. $60 a converter, for scrap. That night you can't sleep. You lie on the mattress listening to Dot's radio through the ceiling, and you can't stop thinking about that bin. Scrap misc. Bent rebar and $60 pieces of metal, same pile. You wake, illuminated by the glow of your old, cracked phone. Your search. What's inside a catalytic converter worth money? The answer. Palladium, rhodium, platinum. You read on. Prices per gram that make your stomach drop. You search. Scrapyards underpaying converters. You find forum threads. Guys doing exactly what that Silverado buyer just did. Buying converters cheap off yards and independent mechanics who don't know what they're sitting on, then selling the metal to a refinery for 4 or 5 times what they paid. You have $340 in a savings account you started and forgot about. You have a torque wrench, a jack, and a scar on your hand that proves you know your way around a car's underside. You don't quit your job. You can't. But you start staying an hour late, unpaid, going through the scrap misc bin before it gets hauled off, separating out anything that looks like a converter, setting them aside in a milk crate you keep in the corner behind the compressor. Boyd doesn't care. To him, it's still scrap either way. You take 4 converters home in a duffel bag on the bus because the truck doesn't exist yet. You don't have a truck yet. You have a bus pass and bad knees from standing all day. You find a refinery 2 hours away in Springfield, Missouri. That buys directly from individuals, no minimum. You call ahead. A guy named Ray answers, sounds bored, tells you to bring them in. You don't have a car that'll make the trip reliably. You ask Dot. You've barely spoken 6 sentences to her in 2 years, mostly thank you through a closed door. You knock. You ask if you can borrow her Corolla for a day, you'll pay for the gas, and give her $40 on top. She looks at you for a long second. Then she says, bring it back with a full tank and we're square. No $40, just trust, handed to you by a woman who barely knows you. You drive 2 hours with 4 converters rattling in a duffel bag on the passenger seat. Ray weighs them, runs some kind of assay test you don't fully understand, disappears into a back office. Comes back with a check. Asterisk, $890. You sit in Dot's Corolla in the parking lot and you don't move for a full minute. 4 pieces of scrap metal, pulled from a bin nobody wanted, worth more than 3 weeks of your paycheck. You drive back. Full tank like you promised. You knock on Dot's door and hand her the key sand. This time, $60, because you can now, and because it matters. You go back to the yard the next day and you do it again. And again. Boyd notices the milk crate's gotten fuller and asks what you're doing with them. You tell him straight. You're pulling converters out of the scrap pile and selling them yourself. You brace for him to shut it down. He doesn't. He shrugs and says, long as you're not touching my paying customer stuff, I don't care what you do with the junk pile. Then, almost as an afterthought, you find me more of that junk, I'll split it with you. That's the deal. Boyd starts setting aside converters from every car that comes through. The ones that would have gone into scrap misc anyway, and you split the refinery payout with him 50-50. It costs him nothing. It's the best deal he's ever made, and he doesn't fully realize it. Within 4 months, you're making the Springfield run every other week. 8, 10, sometimes 15 converters at a time. You buy a beat-up Corolla of your own, $1,200 cash, your own car, finally, so you stop borrowing Dots. Here's the thing about scrap yards. They're everywhere, and most small ones are exactly like Boyd's. Sitting on converters, treating them as junk pile filler because nobody's told them otherwise. Or they know, but don't have the volume to justify driving 2 hours to a refinery. You start visiting other yards. Not to work, to pitch. You wear your one clean shirt, the flannel without oil stains, and you walk in and ask for the owner. Most say no. One guy laughs you out of his office. Another calls you a scammer to your face. The 6th yard you try, a small operation out past Sand Springs run by a tired guy named Wendell, says yes. You offer him a flat $40 a converter, cash, no questions, no waiting for the refinery to pay out. You take the price risk. He takes the guaranteed cash. He likes that. Wendell's been burned by buyers before who promised a cut and never came back with it. You start running a route. Boyd's yard, Wendell's yard. Then a 3rd, a 4th. You keep a spiral notebook. Actual pen and paper, because your phone's storage is full of nothing. Tracking every yard, every price you paid, every payout from Ray. You learn the market moves. Palladium spikes. You pay a little more to lock in yards before competitors show up. It dips, you renegotiate. 14 months in, you're running 6 yards on a weekly rotation. Your notebook shows monthly numbers that don't feel real when you write them down. Asterisk $4,100, $5,600, $6,200. After paying every yard owner their cut and covering gas, you're clearing over $4,000 some months. More than triple what Boyd ever paid you to pull parts with a torque wrench and a scarred hand. You quit Boyd's as an employee. You keep him as a supplier, the best one you've got, because he taught you the game without meaning to. Part 4, the facility somewhere around year 3. Ray at the refinery mentions something in passing while you're both waiting on an assay result. He says the real money isn't in running converters 2 at a Timido Springfield. It's in becoming the middleman other collectors sell to, buying in bulk from 4 of 6. Smaller runners like you used to be, sitting on volume, negotiating refinery rates that nobody driving up with a duffel bag ever gets offered. You think about that for weeks. You've got savings now, real savings, not a forgotten account with $340 in it. You rent a small warehouse space on the edge of Sand Springs, month to month. Nothing fancy. Concrete floor, one bay door, a used forklift you buy off a closing machine shop for $2,800. You put up flyers at every yard you don't already run, and a few you do. Asterisk, we buy converters. Cash same day. No minimum. You start buying from other small-time collectors. Guys exactly like you were 3 years earlier, running 1 or 2 yards on the side. Within a year, you're processing volume that lets you negotiate directly with a bigger refinery in Dallas. Better rates, because you're not showing up with a duffel bag anymore, you're showing up with a box truck. You hire your first employee, a quiet kid named Marcus, who used to work at Wendell's yard and knows converters better than most Texno engines. You pay him well, better than you were ever paid, because you remember what $11.25 an hour felt like. By year 6, the converter business is stable. 6 figures a year in profit, quietly, without a storefront, without a sign anyone notices. But you've learned something bigger than converters. You've learned that most small operators are sitting on value they don't know how to extract. And most big operators don't want to deal with the mess of small volume. You start doing the same thing with other scrap categories: copper wire from demolition sites, aluminum from HVAC teardowns, even used commercial batteries. You buy a second warehouse. You buy a third. You start buying scrap yards outright when owners like Wendell, getting old, kids not interested, want to retire. You already know how to run them. You learn it on the floor of one. By year 10, you own 11 yards across 3 states, a metals brokerage that sells directly to 4 different refineries, and a fleet of box trucks with your logo on the side that nobody in your actual life connects to you, because you still don't have your name on any of it. It's all under a holding company with a name nobody remembers. A private recycling conglomerate approaches you in year 14. They want to buy the whole operation. Yards, brokerage, trucks, everything. You negotiate for 4 months. You sell 75%, keep 25%, and walk away with a number that still doesn't feel real when you write it in the spiral notebook you've somehow kept the entire time, now on its 9th volume. You take that money and you do something boring with it. Index funds, a handful of commercial real estate deals, not flashy, just steady cash-flowing retail strips in growing suburbs. You let it compound. You barely touch it. You don't need to. Which brings you back to the gas station. Back to the truck with the rust in the wheel wells that you've never bothered replacing because it runs fine and you don't care what it says about you. You drive home, past the dealership with the least audits, past the guy in the pressed shirt who has no idea. You pull into your driveway, a normal house, 4 bedrooms, nothing that would make a neighbor look twice. You go inside. You make coffee, the kind you learned to actually appreciate somewhere around the second warehouse, when you finally had 10 minutes in a day that weren't spoken for. You think about Dot. You still send her a card every Christmas. You think about Boyd, still running his yard, still not entirely sure what happened to the kid who used to pull alternators for him. You think about the scar on your palm, faded now but still there if you look. Nobody around you knows the number. Nobody needs to. The wealth was never for showing. It was for knowing you're free. You take a sip of coffee. The house is quiet, and for the first time in a long time, so are you. If you found value in this journey, please give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us bring more hidden stories to light.